Been a while since I reviewed this series, mostly because there has been so much despair, but awesome for these couple of episode chapters, but also because I just I did not have the time to review it. I still read this series. It's just that I only review it every now and again. It's the Boku no Hero Academia chapter 144. We finally get into a little bit flashback of Kishimara's Red Riot's past, and it turns out it's a little bit more heartbreaking than we thought. The guy has always been everything about manliness and standing up for those who has been wronged. However, he was still also bullied because they mocked his quirk. That even though his quirk could make his body strong, he couldn't really do anything about the bullies. Even his friends said that there are some things that you should not be able to do. I mean, Kishimara, he just wanted to be like Crimson Riot. Never, as long as you get a mana split, then quirks don't even matter. But alas, Kishimara, even though his heart was in the right place, he lacked proper motivation. It's also revealed, surprisingly, that Adashino, the very sexy acid girl, Pinky, is actually was actually a classmate of Kishimara. That's good. As long as we get a little bit more information on her, then I like it. And she managed to make friends with the bullies fairly quickly, with break dancing and many things more. So, but the Kishimara's body is called Adashino, the perfect example for a new generation of heroes, because in this flashback they even lampshade the fact that heroes have changed from the past, just as Stain always hated. He hated the fact that nowadays heroes are all about entertainment and approval ratings and whatnot, and they believe Adashino is just like the kind of hero of that today, so she'll perfectly fit for the job. That probably means that a lot of the other villains will not acknowledge Adashino because she's an entertainer, not a hero figure. Although this flashback does shows that she is actually a little bit more, not only entertainment. But Kishimara has always considered his quirk dull and boring because it's just he's just hardening his skin, despite the fact that he has trained his body for a very long time. He still feels like he was not good enough, and his friends, well, they were not exactly that supportive, mostly because they all consider themselves normies, not people that could ever become heroes. Else and Kishimara himself would not exactly so much. Also, were not a guy who had a very long. I mean, the guy seemed like he had confidence, but no, the guy was actually carries a very strong sense of self-loathing, almost as big as Deku's, although his is a little bit more better than Deku's is. I mean, this makes Kishimara's a very interesting character. He wanted to have a flashier or stronger quirk so he could get more confident, but that disappeared. But he realized he could never get anything more because elsewhere, an unknown guy, unknown if that was a villain or just a guy that looks extremely scary, appeared, who was looking for the hero offices of Springer. The guy was also very strong as being to crack a wall as he begged two high school girls for direction towards that hero office. Kishimara wanted to jump in when he realized no one else would. However, he was terrified, so Arashino appeared and told a false direction as the big guy walked away, cryptically saying, "Everything I do is for the Lord." Is that meant to imply that that guy was a former villain that turned up religion in hopes of finding redemption? Only thing is that he seems to look so big and scary, he will never get that redemption. I mean, this does confirm that brings up the stereotype that is pretty good in My Hero Academia, and it's the fact if that guy wasn't a villain, then he sure as hell looked like one. And I know that's a bit discriminating, but it's also the truth. He he looked extremely scary, and he probably couldn't help it. and that's pretty sad. It's just divided in classes, as Kishimara said. He felt his quirk was boring, so he's always in that direction. If this guy wasn't a villain, just a normal or a redeemed villain that wanted help, or maybe a guy who just looked scary and wanted help, then people are afraid of him, maybe, and his temper did not help. This also shows that while Adashino is an entertainer, she is still a bit brave to stand up for her friends. So so she does have some heroism. But Kishimara, well, poor Red Riot, as we can call him now, yeah, his confidence disappeared uh, forever after that. And even more later he heard the story on, well, a middle schooler jumped in to save another middle schooler. That was Deku saving that arrogant piece of shit Bakugo. And hearing that, well, he made he thought that Crimson Riot's compensate with my manly heart was not enough. So he decided to eliminate Yuhei Academy as his first choice, which we all know he eventually took. But what made Kishimara get a little bit more confidence? Who knows? But what I do know is that behind that cheerful, kind face lies an extremely insecure and a little bit depressed kind of character. Way more interesting than we thought. I think I connected to him. If it weren't for one thing I've always been questioning about him, I would almost say that now I like his character even more because we are both similar. We both succumb to despair very easily, and we both have no self confidence in ourselves. So I can relate a lot to his character. That is why I decided to review this chapter, and hopefully I'll do the rest of the flashback too. Give me a false if you have any.